Have you ever pondered over the question, what if everyone was equal? It's a profound thought that invites us to explore the concept of equality. This thought triggers a series of questions within us. Questions about justice, fairness, and equity. This concept, in its purest form, represents the ideal of communism. Communism, a term that immediately sparks a dialogue, a debate, a conflict of ideas. It's an ideology, a philosophy, a political theory that has been the cause of revolutions and upheavals, that has brought forth heroes and villains. The notion of it paints our world in contrasts, black and white, rich and poor, oppressor and oppressed. And so today, we're not just scratching the surface. Today, we're diving deep, delving into the depths of communism. Communism is a political and social ideology that advocates for the abolition of private property and the establishment of a society where all property is publicly owned, and each person works and is paid according to their abilities and needs. At the heart of communism, there's a vision, a dream of a society where wealth is shared equitably among its members, eradicating the concept of class struggle. It is a system that seeks to eliminate the deep-seated societal disparities that arise from the ownership of property. Its proponents argue that by doing away with private property and replacing it with public ownership, we could foster a society where each individual contributes according to their abilities and receives according to their needs. Communism is a utopian vision, a dream of perfect equality where everyone shares alike. It is an ideology that appeals to our shared sense of fairness, the idea that every person, irrespective of the background, deserves an equal shot at life's opportunities. It's a world where the fruits of labor are shared equally, reducing the gap between the rich and the poor, creating a balanced society. But how does communism compare to other political ideologies such as capitalism, socialism, and democracy? Let's delve deeper and explore. Capitalism, for instance, is a system where private individuals or businesses own capital goods, and production is dictated by consumer demand. It is a system that is driven by the profit motive, where goods and services are produced to meet the needs and wants of consumers. It places immense importance on individual freedom and the right to own property. In a capitalist society, individuals have the freedom to create, innovate, and pursue their entrepreneurial dreams, which in turn leads to economic growth and development. However, while capitalism promotes economic growth and individual freedoms, it is not without its flaws. This system can also lead to inequality, as wealth tends to be concentrated in the hands of a small number of individuals or entities. The gap between the rich and the poor can become vast, leading to societal tensions and a sense of injustice among those who are less privileged. Then there's socialism, a political economic system where the means of production are owned and controlled by the state. Socialism is seen as a middle path between capitalism and communism. It seeks to lessen the harsher aspects of capitalism, such as income inequality and social injustice, by promoting a more equitable distribution of wealth. It aims to ensure a basic standard of living for everyone, without completely abolishing private property. Yet like any other political economic system, socialism too has its drawbacks. It can often lead to inefficiencies in production and distribution, as the state makes all economic decisions. It can also lead to a lack of motivation and initiative among people, as the rewards are not directly tied to individual effort or innovation. This brings us to democracy, a system where power resides in the hands of the people. A democratic system allows for the election of representatives by the citizens, who make decisions on their behalf. Democracy places high value on individual freedom, equality, and the rule of law. It ensures that power is not concentrated in the hands of a few, but is spread among the many. It encourages open debate, discussion, and dissent in order to arrive at decisions that represent the will of the majority. But it can sometimes neglect the needs of the minority for the will of the majority. To sum up, each political ideology has its merits and demerits. They all have their unique visions of what a just and fair society should look like. The ultimate choice of a system often depends on the historical, cultural, and socio-economic context of a particular country. Understanding these ideologies can provide us better insights into the world we live in and how we can work towards creating a more egalitarian society. Finally, to end the discussion, let's revisit the concept of democracy, a system where the power resides in the hands of the people, who elect representatives to make decisions on their behalf. It prioritizes individual freedom and the rule of law, but can sometimes neglect the needs of the minority for the will of the majority. So, what makes communism stand out? This age-old question has been the focus of countless debates for generations. At its core, the central tenet of is the promise of a classless society, an idealistic vision where each member of the community has an equal access to all resources and opportunities, regardless of birth or circumstance. A society where the terms upper class, lower class, and everything in between would simply cease to exist. The very notion seems so utopian, so idyllic that it might be perfect on the surface. But as with any complex ideology, this promise comes with its own set of challenges. Digging deeper into the historical context reveals a more nuanced picture. History has shown us that communism, in many instances, has often led to the rise of authoritarian regimes. These are political environments where personal liberties, individual freedoms, and basic human rights are often suppressed, marginalized, or entirely disregarded in favor of collective goals. Freedom of expression, the right to dissent, the pursuit of personal happiness. These seemingly fundamental rights are often curtailed under the guise of pursuing the collective good. The promise of a classless society suddenly appears less appealing when one considers the potential for such abuses. But that's not the only challenge. The economic aspect cannot be ignored. Lack of competition, a core feature of communist societies, often leads to economic inefficiency. This absence of the competitive drive, the lifeblood of capitalism, can result in stagnation and a palpable lack of innovation. Without the motivation to excel, to surpass one's peers, the desire for progress and improvement can grind to a halt. However, despite these challenges, the ideology of communism also offers potential benefits. It carries the promise of eliminating social inequality, a persistent problem in nearly all communism. Could guarantee every citizen, regardless of their circumstances, access to basic needs such as healthcare and education. These are not simply privileges, but rights. In a communist society, these would be viewed not as commodities, but as fundamental human needs. Furthermore, by working towards this utopian vision, communism could potentially lead to greater social cohesion. This would result from everyone in the society working towards the common good, sharing a unified vision, and striving for the same collective goals. Thus, the promise of communism, despite its challenges, carries a certain allure. So what makes communism stand out? It's the promise of society, where everyone has equal access to resources and opportunities. But this promise comes with its own set of challenges. It also offers potential benefits. It could eliminate social inequality, guaranteeing everyone access to basic needs like healthcare and education. It could also lead to greater social cohesion, as everyone works towards the common good. In conclusion, communism is a sophisticated and multi-layered political ideology. At its core, it advocates for an environment devoid of social classes, where equality in every sense of the term the norm. This picture-perfect utopia, however, has frequently failed to materialize in reality. More often than not, it has led to the creation of autocratic and totalitarian regimes where the common people have little to no say in the everyday administration of their life and society. Moreover, its economic model has repeatedly resulted in inefficiencies and shortages, leading to the suffering of the masses. Communism, despite these drawbacks, continues to sustain a significant following. Central to its appeal is the ideology's strong critique of capitalism. It vociferously points out the inherent flaws in a capitalist society where the rich continuously get richer and the poor struggle to make ends meet. The rampant greed, the gross income inequality, and the non-egalitarian nature of capitalist societies are all elements that communism takes issue with. Its emphasis on the equal distribution of wealth and resources among all members of society is another critical factor that continues to endear it to a sizable section of the global populace. For any student or scholar of political theory, understanding communism, its principles, its merits, and its demerits is of paramount importance. It remains a significant part of the political discourse even today, and its influence is visible in several parts of the world. So as we traverse the vast and intricate ideological landscape, it is crucial that we question, analyze, and strive to understand different political ideologies. Because it's only through understanding that we can hope to build a better, more equitable world.